Hello guys, good evening and a warm welcome to all at MUSC Red Devils NCR. This is Delvin and we are back with another edition of 2 Cents with Delvin where I talk about different events, different happenings and current events all around Old Trafford, Manchester United in general. It's the international break and 2 weeks seems like 2 months, especially when we are on the crest of a wave and we just can't wait as Manchester United face Newcastle United after the international break is over. We've had some of our key players rested, some of our players are back into training, and we have a host of new things that we are eagerly looking forward to once this international break comes to an end. But in the midst of this international break, one important factor circulating the club around is Marcus Rashford's contract extension. Now, as we all know, Marcus Rashford's contract extension remains the number one priority for the Manchester United board, irrespective of whatever the takeover situation is. The people at Manchester United think of Rashford as one of the biggest players to come out of the academy, one of the most prominent names, and one of the most informed players in Europe after the World Cup. Ask any official from any team who the most informed player after the World Cup has been, they will be unanimous with their answer, and that is Marcus Rashford. Rashford has scored 27 goals this season, easily breaking his best ever scoring season as a Manchester United player. You can see the body language of Marcus Rashford. He's willing to take over a much more important role as far as the leadership is concerned. He's more or less setting up an example for the rest of his teammates with the quality of performances that he puts on the pitch as well. However, the situation regarding his contract has been anything but straightforward as he scores goals. Like everyone know that United have exercised the option of a further 12 years, which means that Rashford's contract runs up until next season. However, so figures around Old Trafford, the senior figures, the management hierarchy, so on and so forth, want Marcus Rashford to be tied down to a contract extension as quickly as possible. Manager Erik ten Hag himself has gone on record and saying that tying Marcus Rashford down to a long-term contract is of priority and he would want this matter to be rectified as quickly as possible. Now, Marcus Rashford being tied down to United is a huge thing because this is a player who's going to enter his peak years as a footballer, and Manchester United would want to cash in on those full peak years, especially at a time where United finally seem to be more competitive on the front of challenging for trophies, playing an attractive style of football. Marcus Rashford is a tailor-made fit in the way Erik ten Hag wants to play in the upcoming season, and that could be understandable as to why United want to tie down Marcus Rashford. Another reason is that there are a host of clubs across Europe who are circling around Marcus Rashford's availability, whether this season or whether it's the next. The closest among all has been Paris Saint-Germain, who have been open in their interest towards Marcus Rashford. This is the same Marcus Rashford who they were interested in when he had only 5 goals in the entirety of last season, which happens to be his worst ever return as a Manchester United player in the time that he's represented the club. PSG owner Nasser El-Khelaifi has been very open in his admiration for the Englishman and has no qualms or no problems in getting him to the Parc des Princes as and when the situation arises. He also went on to say that there were conversations between the club and Marcus Rashford's representatives regarding a summer move this year. That was up until United triggered the 12-month extension, which meant that Rashford could not go on a free and PSG had to pay a price for his services. The fact that Rashford also stayed put went on to signify that Marcus Rashford did not have any interest for his side, but the interest from Paris Saint-Germain is seemingly never ending, and it looks like they could be in the market, especially considering the fact that Neymar is not going to be a part of their plans anymore come this summer. Another important factor is the amount of money. Marcus Rashford also feels that this could be the time where he could land his most substantial contract or a very hefty payday considering all things putting all things into perspective. Marcus Rashford and his entourage feel that this would be one of the most significant contracts that Marcus Rashford will ever earn. And Marcus Rashford holds all the leverage in contract negotiations, especially considering the form that he has been in this season. But the problem here is that United are talking about keeping a salary cap and making Rashford a high-paying member of the club would mean certain sacrifices would have to be made as far as that salary cap is concerned. Currently, the highest paid player in the club is David De Gea, who's currently on an astronomical wage of £375,000 a week. However, There are contract extensions talks going on between De Gea and the club, and the expectation is that De Gea would take a pay cut so as to make sure that that salary cap is put in line. But here's the deal: because of the amount of inflation that has been splurged by United on player wages in the past 4 to 5 years, United this year have the highest wage bill in the Premier League, that is close to around £364 million, which has automatically put them under the watchful eyes of UEFA's financial fair play program, which means that whatever accounting or whatever solutions that United have to come up with have to be in line with the FFP regulations, or else United will find themselves in massive trouble. Marcus Rashford understands that. The club understands that. There has been agreement reached over the fact that Marcus Rashford would want to be a United player for the foreseeable future, but it will have to be done on a price point where both the club and the player will find common ground. There was a suggestion which was put forward that Marcus Rashford was the highest paid player, but Rashford's shot down those rumors or shot down those allegations and went about saying that his main focus is to make sure that United are fighting on all fronts this season. There are reasons to believe that Marcus Rashford wants to be a Manchester United player for a very long time. Because of the simple fact of his community work, that he's been a very popular figure in the social circles around Manchester. He's a man who knows how to speak. He's well articulated. He's very positive in the way he approaches. Sources around the club and senior players have also noticed the change in his demeanor from being isolated to being one with a positive outlook. Enters in training sessions, gives his all. He's very cheerful with the staff, and so on and so forth. Another important thing is that Marcus Rashford has finally decided to settle down and has also begun to build an eco-friendly house in Cheshire. Now, a player building a house in a particular locality only signifies the fact that he wishes to stay there for the long term. And if Marcus Rashford's building of a house in Cheshire is taken into face value, it is pretty obvious that Marcus Rashford wants to spend at least a significant amount of his career at Manchester United, being one of the key players to foresee the revolution that Ten Hag has overseen so beautifully this year. Another stumbling block is that, in spite of the interest, Marcus Rashford and the club also will have to understand that there will be the takeover facility. So, which means if at all a takeover does happen, the club has to be wary that they do not pay a premium for the services. And there again comes the problem of structuring the salary cap as per the problem, because Marcus Rashford currently is on a contract which is somewhere around 200 to 225,000 pounds a week. A current extension on this current contract would definitely mean a substantial rise, which could be anywhere between 275,000 to 300,000 pounds. Now, if you'd ask me, that is a pretty justifiable amount considering the performances that he's put on throughout the course of this season. His goals have been a massive difference for us, and his overall play has also been a huge bonus in Ten Hag's quest, especially at a time where none of our strikers have either been scoring or have not been fit enough to, assume that goal scoring mantle. So Rashford in this season has taken it upon himself, and the results are there for everyone to see. However, the club will have to be careful of not paying a premium, no matter how great the performances have been. So, if you ask me, if you ask my 2 cents on the matter, I genuinely believe that Marcus Rashford will be a Manchester United player. There is a willingness on both parties' sides to make sure that these negotiations get over as quickly as possible, so that his immediate future is secured for both club and player. And because there are many more important things to do, like challenge for trophies, make sure that United finish this season on a high. There are 2 more trophies to be played for, and United are favourites in both of them to a certain extent, which means that the sooner the contract situation is put to rest, the better and the faster it will be for the player and the coach himself to make sure that they are aligned on their goals, they are aligned on their objectives, and they are aligned on the same wavelength. This is a stark contrast from what Ralph Rangnick said about whether Marcus Rashford wants to stay at the club or no, and if he does not want to stay at the club, he's free enough to go. Saying that is a different thing. Saying that we want Marcus Rashford to stay also is a different thing. Both things are well and all good said and done, but then there has to be a certain amount of tangible action to back your words. And while so far it seems that United have taken the right approach in speaking to Marcus Rashford's representatives on a preliminary level, there are still a lot of things to iron out. There are still a lot of things to be spoken about, and there are a lot of negotiations to happen. But the general consensus among both the players' camp and the sources around the club are pretty positive that Marcus Rashford will indeed be a United player. And I certainly believe that Marcus Rashford deserves this contract, because if there was any other player in his stead, it would be a different thing. It is very easy for people to forget that Marcus Rashford had not been fit for the past 2 to 3 years. There was a case of delaying surgeries, taking pain-killing injections, literally putting his body on the line just so that the good waves or the good vibes that were there during the Solskjaer tenure could be prolonged. Especially also after coming back from surgery, after coming back from injury, the fact that he was in a dysfunctional United team also needs to be taken into consideration. With that being said, my 2 cents on the matter are Rashford should stay and he should be given a contract which is suitable both for player and the club, because we cannot commit the cardinal sin of overpaying players, no matter he's homegrown, no matter he is one of the most famous names to come out of the academy. We have to do business on our own terms and not the players' terms. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Delvin's 2 Cents. We are very, very close to 2,000 followers, so please go ahead and smash that like button, click on that subscribe button, and please press on that bell icon so that you're notified for every video that we put out. We are very active on the YouTube space with constant live streams for speaking about trending issues, speaking about previews of the game. We do post-match reviews as well. We speak about basically everything there is which can be covered as far as the United sphere of influence is concerned. Apart from that, we are perpetually active on our social media spaces as well, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. Go drop us a follow there as well. The username of our Instagram is right here on the screen. Our Twitter username is also the same, so you can go ahead and give us a follow there as well. Apart from that, we are perpetually active on our WhatsApp group. I say this on every stream, I say this on every video. Today is no different. Every day is match day on our official WhatsApp group. We are an ever-growing family. There's always room for more, and we'd love to have you on board. So please go ahead, check out the link in the description below, and you can go ahead and join us on WhatsApp as well. This was all about the Marcus Rashford contract situation, and thus comes to an end of today's episode of 2 Cents with Delvin. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do join us for the next episode. I'll see you on the other side. Till then, take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and GTM, you guys.